evening, everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, mental health issues and the stigmas attached to them have been covered a lot in the media, and there are those who say that people with mental health issues are violent and dangerous. Well, tonight we're going to be discussing the stigma and discrimination behind mental health problems and how it makes matters even worse for those battling with a problem, and giving you some tips on how to help a friend or loved one with a mental health issue. And I will also be speaking to various guests tonight, two of whom were with me at an event that I spoke at the University of Westminster about depression. But first of all, we have the news, of course, with the lovely Rihanna. Hello, Rihanna.
Hi, Chrissy.
You've made the sofa today.
I know, yay me! I'm so
You're not tucked away in a corner somewhere on another table.
Yeah, waiting to fall off that chair. Well, the first news that I have, I know that Christmas is past and everything, but this news is going to help because it's about saving. Now, this young girl, I think her name's Emma, she made a massive saving of £540 because all throughout the year she was collecting coupons.
Oh, really?
Yep, she was collecting coupons because she couldn't work anymore because of an illness. So she needed to find a way to save money and to, you know, manage to get gifts for her family and friends at the end of the year. So during the year she was collecting coupons.
That's interesting that she was thinking about that in advance. That was really good.
Which was really, really good. And it helped her to, you know, even though she was tired, but she I think they say painstakingly found vouchers, cut them up and saved them. And she managed to get is it Fiji or Fuji? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Fuji?
Sorry. Fuji camera. Yeah. It was £160 originally, but she got it for £30.
Really? How old's this girl?
She is 20.
Oh, very smart.
I think that's excellent. She's very smart. I think I should do that, you know, beginning of the year. I should do something
start
like
collecting
that.
your coupons.
I'm going to think about starting to collect coupons.
Thinking about something doesn't mean you're doing it, my darling.
But it will help because the moment you have that thought process going, you're mentally there.
Oh.
And then you start working towards it.
Okay, just don't stay mentally there because nothing will happen.
No, I won't. But some people, you know, they can stay there, but the thought helps them move forward.
Okay.
And our next news piece, well, you know, I really did like Barbies when I was growing up. I had this massive Barbie house.
Oh, I did as well. Weren't they wonderful?
It. Yeah, I was like, you know, the princess, and Ken would always
actually, that was the year
me.
that, maybe I shouldn't say this,
Well, what happened?
that I discovered something about Santa.
Oh. All right, go on then.
And I found, I won't say what it is, and I found this Barbie house, which was meant to be from him, behind my mother's cupboard. So it was a bit of a sad year for me. Yeah. But I loved it. It was a great gift. It kind of made up for my realisation about something, I would say.
Oh, you poor thing. But you got over it now.
Yeah, just in case there's kids watching, you know.
Oh, kids, you know, presents are from family. But it's for a good reason. But anywho, swiftly moving on. This wonderful lady, she has decided to make herself look like a Barbie doll.
Oh.
Yes. She spends 4 hours putting on makeup.
4 hours?
Every morning.
You're joking. How can you spend 4 hours putting on
4
makeup?
hours. I think she has to cake it on, you know, layer upon layer to really get that Barbie doll look.
Who has 4 hours to spare? I do my makeup in about 10 minutes.
She really, well, I don't. Not that I put a lot, but I just take so long. But I can't imagine 4 hours just on my face. And she puts, I think it's 14 packs of eyelashes on each eye.
You're joking. Do we have a picture of her? Please tell me you brought a picture of her. There must be. Come on. Oh my gosh, doesn't look real.
I know. She really looks Barbie doll. And she even puts the makeup like the white eyeliner underneath her eyes and around.
4 hours to put on. I wonder how long it takes her to take it off.
I don't even want to imagine it.
Because that is the worst. Oh, I really it's so tiring after I've done a show to go home and to take off all this makeup. It takes me ages. Do you have a routine? Well, I've got a face wash. I use that first. And after, I take my eye makeup off first with eye makeup remover. Then I use the face wash. Then after that, I have to use the cleansing, the pads and everything. Then the toning, then the wash. It's like, I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to be.
I imagine how long that takes. Sometimes I've just fallen asleep with makeup on my face.
No, it's bad for you.
It's really bad.
It damages your skin.
It really does. I mean, I felt the consequences of it, but I have to have this routine. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. So as soon as I walk in through the door, I make sure I wash it off. But I don't know how she does it.
No.
I mean,
unless she doesn't really take it off properly, and then that's going to really play a part on her skin.
I don't have any words, but yeah, Barbie dolls are in for adults too, I can say. Which brings me to Marks and Spencer's.
Oh, okay.
Now, you know Marks and Spencer's, big retailer and everything. They recently had complaints because their adverts were, the kids' toys were too gender specific. Now, I'm quite confused because I know there's toys for little boys and toys for little girls. So why would there be complaints because toys are too gender specific? It's just...
I understand their point of view, but I think it's taking things a little bit far.
It has.
Because if a little girl wants to buy a little toy car, she can go to the boys section and just buy it. Or if a boy wants to play with a little doll, he can go to the girls section and get it. Just what I mean? I don't see what the big deal is, because I think it will get a bit confusing, because most girls will go for the dollies, won't they? Most
boys will, yeah.
I'm not generalising here, but well, I'm a little bit. But they will probably go for the girly things. And then maybe they can just have sort of like a neutral section.
Well, it should just...
But have both as well, because it makes it so hard. Imagine how difficult it must be shopping if everything's just mixed up together. It's not ideal, is it?
Well, it's going to be neutral.
That's my opinion. There are probably viewers that disagree with me.
They're going to change it. They've decided, because there was a whole campaign on it. It's let toys be toys. But they're going to make everything just... It's not going to be so gender specific. It's going to be neutral. I don't know how that's going to work. Is it going to be Barbie with a blue t-shirt and jeans with, what do you call them, All-Stars? Converses? I wore them the other day. They were so uncomfortable. Nothing to do with the news, but, so, you know, it was awful.
It's all right. We don't ever stick to the topic on this show.
But yeah, so the toys are going to be neutral. We'll just have to go with it, really. I mean, I stopped buying toys. Not for me, but for family members, you know. I've got little ones. I don't play with toys anymore. I play with dresses. But, you know, everybody wants to stay young. It's all about staying young, staying fresh. And in China, how do I put this? They have this new thing, I think it's a new campaign or something, where you have the mother and the daughter together, but you need to kind of guess who is the mother and who is the daughter. And it's kind of hard because they both look really, really young. Oh, wow. So how would you be able to tear them apart? How would you know who's the mum? I think it's like the hot mum campaign.
My mum actually used to get she used to get that all the time. One time she answered the door. The guy said to her, "Can you go and get your mum, please?" And she's like, she's got 2 daughters in the house, because he thought she was young, but people always used to think.
How can you tell which is the daughter, which is the mum?
You're joking. Well, I would say the one on the left is the mum.
I don't know.
Oh, Rihanna.
I didn't look into it. But, I mean, with this one, I think the lady
on the left is the mum, but they do look like sisters, though. That's amazing.
They really do. It's quite
wow. See, these are ladies that don't put on 14 sets of eyelashes, and they make sure they take their makeup off at the end of the night.
I think I should do that. I want to stay young forever.
Oh, I think we've run out of time, Rihanna. Did you have a news article?
Oh, Chrissy, you always do this to
I'm
me.
sorry, we do have to go.
Okay, no worries. Team, I will be back. Stay fab, Chrissy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing the news with us. Okay, so we will be going to a break very shortly, but if you do want to get in touch with us at any time during the show, you can Facebook Chrissy B Show, the Chrissy B Show, and also tweet at Chrissy B Show. And if you want to send me an email, it's chris@chrissybshow.tv. God, it's all mouthful, isn't it? Because we will be speaking about mental health issues and all the discrimination that people go through. And my first guest, called Charlotte, will be talking about the frustration that she goes through when her mum gets quite a lot of flack because of a mental health issue. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'm going to be speaking to my first guest now, called Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, thanks so much for coming on to talk about this, because it is a very sensitive issue that a lot of people go through, and unfortunately they don't feel like they can really open up and talk about it because of all the discrimination and the stigmas attached to mental health. But it's actually your mum that's going through some problems, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she's been going through it all her life. I'd say the past couple of years it's been at its worst point. She did start getting better from a certain age when I come along, and then when my nan died, she went downhill again. She suffers with anorexia, multiple personality disorder, and she's got Raynaud's disease, which is the blood. And I know she's got some other bits wrong with her, but she doesn't.
She doesn't really talk about it.
Yeah, she doesn't really. She normally just tends to bring things up as she does, mainly in arguments.
How has that affected you growing up, obviously, because you've been seeing this probably all your life? How has that been for you, and how have you dealt with it?
It affected my school, because a lot of it happened while I was at school. I was put into care, well, not put into care, but they took me into care from year 7, where I phoned up one day and she had announced that she had taken an overdose. Obviously the school acting out, they contacted social services. Social services were there waiting for me at the end of the day. And then from then, like, she got sectioned, and then she wasn't allowed out of hospital for a while. But to be honest, it's one of them things where I'm quite a strong person, so I've always kind of like not brushed it off, but just got on with my life, just got on with whatever I needed to. I still had regular contact with her, but it was a thing like when people in school found out that my mum was quite ill, they started asking a lot of questions and talking about it behind my back. Like, I was never bullied, I had good school years, but it was always a case that, like, oh, they did say certain things like, oh, is it true your mum's in hospital, and blah, blah, blah. Like, they say, oh, is she crazy, is she this, is she that? And obviously, no, she's not. Mental health isn't about people being crazy. It's obviously something within themselves that makes them ill. My mum suffers with anorexia, which is an eating disorder, which comes under mental health, which knocks her confidence completely. If something happens to her, she turns straight to it. She stops eating. Her weight plummets. Like, it goes downhill. Her depression, again, the same. Like, it's up and down all the time. She could be really happy, and then something happens, she's back down to square one again.
Have you seen can you think of any incidences where maybe she was treated badly or unfairly because of problems that she's going through? I
went to a doctor's appointment with my mum, and she was telling them about stomach pains that she was having, bad headaches, but they pretty much said, like, because she suffers with mental health, is it all in her head? They were just like, they kind of pushed it to the back like it was irrelevant, like, you know, she always comes here with something, complaining about something. The one time she does open up asking for help and they push her away. Another time was on the bus, my mum was sitting down, these 2 older ladies were like looking at her as if to say, like, she didn't have the right to sit down because she hadn't got up to offer them the seat. Like, my mum is 100% entitled to that seat as them, just because, like, she might be able to stand a bit longer than an elderly person, but she can't walk.
She can't walk for long?
No, she can't. Like, she was walking down the road the other day, someone shouted out the Elephant Man to her. That's not on. Do you know what I mean?
How does that make you feel when you see this?
It really upset me. I think that was one of the most things that has upset me for the longest time. Because normally, as I said, I just block things out. I try to push it to the back of my head and just get on with things. But that, I've got to say, really did bother me, because obviously that's my mum. Someone's discriminating my mum. Someone's shouting out abuse to my mum, and I wasn't around at that time.
That's the thing. It's like it's not like as if you're not going through enough already, and then there's people that are sort of putting you down, making these horrible comments, and then sometimes even when you do ask for help, it's like, oh, are you sure you need it? Like you said, it's all in your mind. Because that's what I used to get when I was going through certain problems. I told a few people close to me, and even my own boyfriend, who's now lovely, by the way, is my lovely husband, but even my boyfriend then, oh, just it's in your mind, just shake it off, it's fine, you'll be all right, cheer up. All these things that are so infuriating, because you can't just shake it off. It's not something it's not like you want to feel that way. It just happens, and it comes, and you can't control it, and people don't understand that. But another thing is that something that you mentioned at the beginning, people think that, you know, mental health, people that are going through mental health issues, they're crazy. They may be, and also we've seen things in the newspapers fueling that, saying, oh, they're more likely to, you know, they like to kill someone, they're violent. But that's not the case at all, is it? It's like,
I mean, it's always easy to pin something on mental health. Like, you could get someone who's going around beating people up and hurting people, and then they'll probably, when it comes to the courts, they'll probably try and put it down to mental health. And then because you get people that do that, then they kind of put everything down to that. They think that every person that suffers with mental health is violent, that would hurt people, that are a danger to society. No, my mum wouldn't go out and hurt someone. My mum's not got it in her to go up to someone and just beat someone up for the sake of just them being there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. People have got this one impression. They can only see it for how they think it is. They're not open-minded enough to think, you know, there's different things, there's different aspects of mental health. There's not just anorexia, there's not just multiple personality disorder, there's bipolar, there's so many other different things. And they all have their own consequences, and people within themselves, they had their own personalities. So however my mum acts, she acts because that's her.
Yeah.
That's just the way she acts. Doesn't necessarily mean another person with the same thing is going to act the same way. You know, it comes down to how she acts.
That's the thing, but everyone's put in the same category. Like everyone's crazy, they're going to be violent,
they make everything
watch
up.
out. Yeah, it's all in their mind, all these things. It's really frustrating. Now, what would you like to see happen, like, for things to improve, you think?
Well, I'd like to see more help out there, like people that are actually more willing to help people with mental health rather than just brush it to the back like, oh, it's not important, you know, it's all in the mind, it's only depression, people can get over it like that. I think personally depression never ever really goes away. You can always get better from it, but I think it's always there. There's always like an underlayer of it, like as I said before, like you can get better and you could have a year of amazing things happen to you, probably win the lottery, probably get married, be so happy, and then something happens and it just brings you back down.
Although, Charlotte, I have to say, in my case, it's been different because there are cases where people have been able to get over it completely, as I did. But like you say, for others, they do have these episodes where they're okay for a while, and then something triggers it, and then it happens again. So each case, I think, is different. But people do, whatever the case, people do need to be understood. And just the fact that, you know, if you feel like someone's actually listening to you and someone understands what you're going through, and even if they don't understand but they don't judge you, that just helps heaps. Even if it's your doctor or a counsellor that you're seeing or a charity that you go to, that makes such a difference, that actually someone understands, someone cares. They're not just sort of putting me in this little box, then I'm like a crazy person. That really makes a difference.
I don't think they take people that suffer with mental health seriously.
Yeah.
Like they could sit there, my mum could sit there and have the most serious conversation with you. You'd think that there's nothing wrong with her just by talking to her. But looking at her, you can see it. You can see how ill she is by looking at her. You might not be able to see that she's got mental health problems, but you can tell she's got an eating disorder, and that obviously comes under it. So,
how do you help her as a daughter? Because it must be quite hard to go through.
I can't. She doesn't really let me do much for her, to be honest with you. Like, and I just try to listen to her. I try to be there for her, and that's the best way I can be there for her, because she doesn't want me to do things for her. She thinks that I'm trying to take away her stability. She thinks I'm trying to take away, like, the things of her doing them herself. Like, what's the word?
Her independence.
Yeah, that's it. She thinks I'm trying to take her independence away, and I'm not. Yeah. Like, and obviously, you know, I've still got to respect that my mum still has her own life, and my mum's a soldier. She's been through so much, and she always comes out. Like, she does have more down days than up, but I'm happy to say that she's still here for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I went back to my mum. I went back to my mum, and I wouldn't have changed it. So yeah.
All right, Danny, thank you so much for sharing your story, because we'll be speaking to our other guests, and also we will be having a doctor on later on, or she's going to be joining us by Skype, hopefully, if she can get through, talking about how family members can actually help those that are going through mental health issues as well. So do join us. Thank you so much, Charlotte, darling, and we'll see you after the break. We'll be speaking to Kat, who's the project manager of Well Happy app.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. We're speaking about mental health issues today. And one of the things that, one of the stigmas actually that people talk about, they say that people with mental health issues are more likely to be violent and hurt others. Well, actually, they are more likely to harm themselves, as we can see from this following video. I'm at the Clifton Suspension Bridge, and this place has been nicknamed the Suicide Bridge because every year quite a number of people are going through so many problems and really think that there's no way out of their situation, that they can't talk to anyone, that their problems are just unsolvable. They feel so low, so depressed that they basically jump off this bridge into the road below or the river and end their life. And a lot of people come here for the view because it's a fantastic view, whether, you know, it's during the day or during the night. It's wonderful to see. So you can see how some people will come for the view and they see things like in a positive way, and others like miss everything, seem to miss everything. They're so homed in on their situation, they're so homed in on their problem, they can't think of anything else, and all they can think about is the negative stuff. And I can understand in a way, if you are, I mean, coming from a depression background, I know how desperate a person can feel and panicked a person can feel. And when I was never suicidal because I was actually afraid of death, so suicide for me wasn't an option. But I can understand the desperation that people feel and how terrifying it is when you feel that no one understands you and that you're by yourself. But I also know the thing that upsetting me now is that I know that people can get over their problems, and I just get upset thinking that there's people that don't get that far. And they just end it all when I know there's a solution to any problem that person has, and it's just such a waste. Okay, so now I'm joined by Catherine Cormack from who's a project manager for Happy App.
Yes.
Almost forgot that. How are you, my darling?
I'm all right, thank you. Long day, but
long day. Yeah, she's travelled far and she's been up all day, but hopefully it won't be too long.
No.
So tell us a bit about what you do, Kat, first of all.
So, I mean, it's kind of difficult to describe, I guess. I mean, I've been using mental health services for a long time, so since my early teens, and I've had mental health problems most of my life. So when I finished uni and things like that, I wanted to do something that made a difference. And I thought, well, you know, the NHS has given so much to me and helped me so much over the years that I want to work there, basically. So I started working for Young Minds, which is a mental health charity, and they actually helped me get into a job with the NHS. And it was basically to develop an app to help young people in London. And, you know, because I'm a service user, I can kind of empathise with a lot of what young people are going through. And, I mean, young people in London told us that they didn't know what to do when they were struggling with something. So it might not even be like a full-blown mental health problem. It might just be that they're really stressed about exams.
Because it is a stressful time, isn't it, being at uni, especially if you're away from home and stuff. It's a whole new world and it's scary.
Yeah, and you know, especially with uni, where if you've moved to a town you don't know, like you don't have a GP, and that's normally who you go to talk to about health stuff. And a lot of young people, you know, they don't really want to talk to their GP. And, you know, especially when you're under 16, you don't want your parents to find out certain things a lot of the time. So a lot of people really struggle to actually get the help that's out there.
Definitely. So talking about yourself as well, did you find that you were it was a difficult time maybe to open up and speak about what you were going through, or did you feel like you could?
I mean, so if I look back, I started showing symptoms of OCD in particular when I was about 6. So
really?
And you know, when you experience it at a child at that age, you kind of assume that it's normal because you don't know any different. So it wasn't till I was about 14 and I started getting really depressed that I realised something wasn't quite right, and that this was more than just kind of being a moody teenager. And some of my friends started commenting and saying, you know, we're really worried about you. So it wasn't till I was 14 that I actually realised anything was wrong at all. And then it wasn't till I was 19 that I actually opened up to anyone, really. Like, you know,
was it scary to do that?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 14 and I was first diagnosed, you know, no one talked about mental health at school. Like, you learn about your body and you learn about kind of normal growing up stuff, but you don't learn about your mind. And at a point where, you know, you're having crazy hormones going all over the place, and you're becoming an adult, you know, you're changing so quickly in such a big way. And yet I think a lot of people, they don't want to think that young people and children can get mental health problems, because they think, you know, well, that's a horrible thing. And a lot of the time I've been told, but you know, you had a really good childhood, so what have you got to be upset about? Yeah,
that's the thing. They don't understand, because I had a great childhood as well. Parents were supportive. we didn't lack anything, but still it can happen to anyone. And by saying sort of, it makes you even feel even worse, like, oh my God, nothing happened to me, people have been through a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't even be feeling this way, and that makes you feel even worse, doesn't it?
And you feel guilty about it, and you don't want to tell anyone.
That's
and
right.
then, especially if you get a negative reaction as well.
If you're called ungrateful, for example.
Yeah, or you're told that you should just pull up your socks or cheer up, like you were saying. That's
annoying.
the last thing you need to hear at that point.
Exactly. Now, we were doing an event together, weren't we, Kat? Because we did last year now. We did an event at the University of Westminster, which was my old uni, and I went back to basically talk about, mental health and how basically I overcame depression. But while I was there, I was going through absolute hell.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And you were there with the Well Happy app things, which was great. But let's take a look at this video. And afterwards, we're going to be speaking as well to Professor Damien Ridge, who was also there and helped organise this event. Hi everyone, I'm here at the University of Westminster. Now, I actually studied here around 21 years ago, and I'm here today under very, very different circumstances. While I was at this university, great uni by the way, but I was going through hell. I was going through severe depression, panic attacks. I was having terrible fights with my boyfriend, who's now my husband by the way. And it's great to be able to come here today under like a completely different person. Now I no longer have the depression, I no longer have those issues that I had back then. And I'm here today to actually speak to the students and anyone else that's interested today in mental health, to offer hope and to let people know that no matter what past you've been through, no matter what's going on right now, in fact, that there is hope, that you can change, that you can be happy. So I'm here with Paul Canover, who's going to also be speaking at this event today. Now, Paul, what are you expecting from this event today?
I'm not really too sure, but I think that's even better, that you're never too sure. Just for me to really share what's going on with me and what's happened in the past and what's happening in the future, to be honest, yeah.
I'm a great believer in recovery from depression and from issues, because I've been through hell as well, and I know you have as well, so it'll be great. I mean, I'm really excited about sharing with the students that there is hope after going through a really hard time.
Well, there is, obviously. I mean, look at us today, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're perfect. But yeah, we've come through our troubles and what we had to do to come through it, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm much of a believer in faith, and yeah, we're here today, so let's enjoy.
Guys, so we're looking forward to it, and we'll catch up with you later on after the event.
Is it just a case of being sad, or is it different? Depression?
Depression, for me, when I was going through it, it was there constantly. Sometimes worse than other times. Like, for example, evenings were terrible for me. Once, it started to get dark, I used to feel worse, and then that's when the panic attacks would start. But it's not just, because everyone goes through sad moments, but depression is different. It kind of takes something away from inside of you. I learned to see depression as an intruder. Like, it wasn't meant to be there, it's not meant to be a part of me. I started to have anger against the problem. Instead of crying and sort of feeling, like helpless, I started to toughen up. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to be like this anymore. I'm not going to allow this depression to get to me anymore. I'm going to be happy because I have a right to be happy.
And I couldn't understand until I reached that point. I actually understood what he meant, because he was directing me what was going on in my life. And it was like, the first one, it was such a help. It's like I came out there with my head feeling a lot lighter than it usually is. And my shoulders are a lot more sturdy, and I could walk a bit more better. And I was like, I couldn't wait to return. No
matter how life is for you at the moment, don't lose hope, because things can change for you, things can be better, and you can be happy. That's the message I always, try to put out on my show as well.
You can break everything I am. You can break everything I am, like I'm made of clay.
I found it really impressing. It's interesting to hear, people who have really suffered from the depression and how they've integrated into their lives and how they've finally found their way out.
Some of the views that they had were very different to my views, but it's always interesting to get other people's aspects on. I think depression is kind of a really broad description of something that's, I guess, it could be more specified for the individual. So it's interesting to hear what other people have to say about it. And
is there anything that you can take, either of you can take away from this event and maybe apply in your own lives?
I guess their opinion on how friends can help someone, or girlfriend, boyfriend, can help someone that is suffering depression, definitely. I guess people take help in different ways, so it's good to hear different opinions. Yeah.
The bottom line of what we're trying to get across is that the first step is to open up, and that's how you can start to find help and start to recover from depression, because you can recover from it. And I think it's great that you think that too.
Yeah, no, you can. And there's a lot of hope, and I think people do recover. I mean, people tend to recover, and that's what we have to remember. But as you say, and Paul say, you can do a lot to help yourself, and getting help is the first step. So don't try and do it on your own, because I mean, as you say, depression isn't sadness. It's really being, it's quite a horrendous experience, and you need help.
All right, so guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the footage that we've shown you today. We've had a great time here, and who knows, we might be doing some more events very soon together. Who knows? All right, so that's it from us, and we'll see you again next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and I still have Kat with me, and also we should have Professor Damien Ridge on Skype with us. Good evening.
Hello, Chrissy.
Hello. Oh, so nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. It's been a long time. It seems like a long time, but
I know it does.
It was a few months ago, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, Damien, we did that event together, and I thought it was really good, and it was a pleasure to be able to come back to the uni and talk to the students. But first of all, why do you think there are all these stigmas about mental health going around?
So your line isn't very clear.
Okay.
The stigma about mental health.
Yeah. Why do you think there are so many stigmas?
Well, yeah, I think that people are afraid of what they don't understand. And also you have to think about the history of mental health as well. In past times, we thought of mental illness as being evil, and then eventually we saw it as a medical condition, and then we locked people away in asylums. It's only been in recent decades that we've begun to change that, and we have deinstitutionalized, we have brought people back into the community, we have much more effective treatments these days. And so people with depression or psychosis or OCD can get good treatment these days, which in the past we didn't have so many treatments. But I think the other problem is that in the media, the tabloids talking about, for example, schizophrenia and people with schizophrenia, being violent all the time, and they keep repeating these kinds of stories, and so people get it into their heads that mental health is dangerous.
That's right.
I think it might be decreasing, though. I think for example, people coming out like Kat today, talking about their issues. I think that really helps to decrease stigma.
It does. I think the more we talk about it, the better it will get. But I suppose you'd always get those people that are prejudiced, and no matter what we say or show. But the thing is, it does need to be spoken about, and people going through these things definitely do need to open up as well, because there are places, there are organisations, counsellors that are willing to help.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Now, Damien, what did you think about the event that we did? What stood out the most for you from the event that we did at the uni?
I think it was people's personal stories. Hearing more from Paul Cannonville, for example. I didn't realise some of the depths of depression that he had experienced and how desperate it had been, and to have a man open up and talk about what he's been through. Often men don't. They tend to not want to be vulnerable. Part of being a man sometimes is not being vulnerable, but actually being vulnerable is really important in terms of that's where we also find our strength. We need to sort of reach in there and find our strength. Also, and also finding out more about you, Chrissy. I know I'd heard about your story when I was on the show, but again, it brings it back to life, and just how desperate it was. I didn't realise how desperately difficult it was for you at university. And I wondered what it was like coming back to Westminster.
Sorry, say that again, David. I didn't hear the last part.
I wondered what it was like for you coming back to Westminster.
Do you know what? It was great. coming back, because it's like, as I said on the video, it was like it's under such different circumstances, and I was able to go back and say, look, you know, I've achieved so much since then. I thought that that would be it for me, going through all those problems, but going back under such different circumstances, it was really like, I can't really describe it. I was just so happy, and I really wanted to get that across to students that were there and people that were there that are going through something, that you can still achieve things in life.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I guess in a way it's coming full circle for yourself as well.
Yeah.
And coming back to Westminster in a much happier place.
Definitely. Which is great. All right, Damien, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
See you.
Okay, thanks, Chrissy.
Bye.
Okay, then, bye.
And also we'll be speaking, I don't know if Sally's already on the line as well, Dr. Sally Austin, who's going to be speaking about how we can help family members that are going through, because that was also difficult, isn't it? Did you tell your family about what you were going through?
Eventually I told them, but you know, there was a lot of pressure put on me to kind of tell them by my friends saying, you know, you can't hide this from them forever. And I was like, no, I can.
Yeah,
you know, no one
hard.
has to know. And actually, it's funny because now I'm so open about mental health to the point where, you know, I do things like come on TV like now, and
which is
talk about
great,
it, which is, you know, a big thing.
Yeah.
Given that not 5 years ago, no one knew at all.
Wow, okay.
And people say to me, you know, why are you so open? Because surely it's putting a lot out there and you're making yourself vulnerable. And actually, the reaction I get is amazing. You know, a lot of people have a really bad time with stigma and negative experiences, but I found that actually since I call it coming out the closet.
Yeah, it's true.
Since coming out about my mental health, like it's amazing how many people now reach out to me, and they always say, you know, I didn't know who else to talk to, but I knew that you know about mental stuff, so I came to you. And I just think if I can do that for one other person, then that's really fantastic, because people did reach out to me and people were there for me, and that was the thing that changed my life. You know, peer support saved my life. And if I can do that for someone
Imagine
else,
if you kept it all in and that builds up, and that's why people do end up killing themselves, doing so many things.
Yeah. And people assume, you know, they think, oh God, this is happening to me, I must be crazy, I must be weird, it must just be me. But actually, 1 in 4 of us will have a mental health problem at some point in our lives. And even if you don't have it yourself, you know, it could be a friend or a family member. You know, mental health is everyone's business.
It's true, because that's how exactly how I felt. If I tell my friends, because I was at uni at the time, if I tell them, they're going to think I'm weird and no one's going to want to hang around with me. And I was very selective who I told. And even then, like, especially my boyfriend, he didn't understand. And it did cause a lot of problems in our relationship. But eventually, you know, I got help and he started to understand me, and he was really helpful afterwards. But it is a scary thing sometimes. But when you do, there are always people around that will help you. And like you said, you end up helping other people as well, because they think, oh, it's not just her. It's not just her.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not just me. It's her. It's other people as well. But let's talk to Sally now. I think we've got her on Skype. Hello, Sally. Hi, how are you?
Hello there, how are you doing? Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So we're speaking now about, obviously we're speaking about mental health, but what do you think family members can do to help someone going through something like this? Because with all intents and purposes, they try to help sometimes, but make it worse.
Yes, I think the first thing family members can do is help the person spot if their mental health is declining, because we don't always know what's going on in ourselves. So if you can have someone who knows what your symptoms of decline are, knows what you look like when you're feeling stressed or you're getting ill, then you can give 1 or 2 people permission to come up to you and say, oh, I don't think you're that well, I think you need a bit of help. And that can be really powerful. So I've got a friend, for example, who has a history of depression, very severe depression. And he's given me the clue or the piece of information that if he starts sighing a lot, like, you know, every few minutes, then that for him is a sign that he's declining.
Right.
And that's when he needs support and help. So that's really useful, because he won't be able to ask me for the help when he's poorly. So he's given me the information I need and the permission. So that's something, you know, the person who's got the mental health problem can give their friends and family permission and say, if you see me like this, then please feel free to help.
Okay. And what about for those that are going through an issue, but they're more closed, they don't want to they want help from anyone, what's the best thing that family members or friends can do for that person to support them in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything that keeps communication and the relationship open, because there are people who are very closed or very private, and that might just be their personality, or that might be part of their mental health problem. You know, I think we watch a lot of American TV, which encourages us to talk about everything. You don't need to talk about everything. Just going to the shops with someone or watching a TV program with someone can be very supportive in itself. Just sitting by the fire with someone. If they want to talk, that's lovely, but talking's not for everybody. And it's, for some people, it can just make them feel incredibly attacked and accused and feel worse. So just be with them, show them that you're there.
Not necessarily talk about the problem.
But I do think, you know, if you're talking about people, that's right, yes. I mean, just doing something can be nice, being available. And I don't think family members should feel that they have to be a qualified therapist. You know, they're not going to say the right things. And it's okay for a family or friend to just say, do you know, I haven't got a clue what to say, but I just want you to know that I'm here for you. Or I don't have a clue what to say. Do you want me to help you find some help? We don't always have to come up with this clever, you know, perfect answer that's going to solve everyone's problems in 1 minute.
All right, Dr. Sally, thank you so much. That was really helpful.
All right, well, lovely to see you again, and I hope to see you again soon.
All right, see you. Bye. Okay, so we've run out of time, Kat. But I just think that's something that I'd like to leave our viewers with. You know, people. Certain people say that, you know, people with mental health issues, they're crazy and everything. But in my opinion, I think they're very, very strong people, because every day, if you're going through it, every day you wake up in the morning, you sometimes have to drag yourself out of bed. I know, because I used to do this. Drag yourself out of bed, go about your daily tasks, everyone around you smiling and laughing. You're seeing all that and you're feeling so helpless, but you get on with life. And I think it takes an incredible amount of strength to actually be able to do that. So you're not weird, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just going through a problem at the moment that, you know, you can find help for it, and you can fight it. If you choose to fight it, you can fight against it as well. But don't ever put yourself down and think that you're not even worth being on this planet because you're going through this problem. You have an incredible strength inside of you, because, to be honest, there's a lot of people that can't actually even get out of bed in the morning, and those that do, they really show that strength. And if you are obviously the ones that sometimes can't get out of bed in the morning, please do ask for help. Like Sally just said, you don't have to necessarily speak about it all the time, but find someone that you can speak to, and you don't have to be alone with this. I can help you, Kat can help you. There's so many people that can help you, so please do get in touch with us. You can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv, and you had the Young Minds helpline as well, didn't you?
So if you're a parent or a guardian and you're worried about a child or a young person, Young Minds have an amazing helpline, and they help thousands of parents every year that are worried about, you know, what their kids are going through. So give them a call.
Do you know the number offhand?
No.
All right, don't worry, you can look it up on Google. Young Minds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Kat, for coming along, and I do hope this program has helped you. So that's it for now, and we see you again next time on the Chrissy B Show. Bye bye for now.